All right, we have a special treat. Derek Shapiro here. I did not know he was going to call. I have him on the phone. Eric, my friend, who I never met in person. He's incarcerated in Cranston, Rhode Island prison at the ACI. Eric, are you on the phone?
Yes. How you doing, Derek? How's everybody doing out there?
Great.
Long time no hear from.
Yeah, hey, I'm still broadcasting in Rhode Island. My headquarters is in Augusta, Georgia now. So tell us. You used to call me weekly, sometimes every other week, weekly. I just got a call from you saying, Eric from the in the prison, accept it. So what's been happening in the Cranston, Rhode Island prison with you?
Well, since the last time we spoke, I think the last time we spoke was like last May or April, maybe like August, I believe it was, or July. So we haven't spoke for a year, but I've been facing, for a lot of the good things that I've done, I helped bring the last mile computer coding program with Senator Logan Palmer to medium security, which is successful. 17 guys just graduated not too long ago. You remember we brought Senator De Palma on the show, and we interviewed both of us about a year or two ago.
Yep.
About that progress. Yes, so that was in the works. I worked with the director and Senator De Palma to bring the CDL license program with the simulator. They're working on that now, and I brought up another idea of bringing them culinary classes with Johnson and Wills to teach guys culinary. But by doing all of these things, I received recognition from the court. The judge reduced my sentence. He gave me a sentence reduction by 3 years last year for all the good works and efforts. But no good deed goes unpunished, like they say, right, Derek?
Yep.
So as a result of this, I wrote an article last June in the Providence Journal, and it was in the Boston Globe, picked it up, the NPR, and the USA Today. And I was criticizing the Department of Correction president and union, the president Richard Ferruccio, who is he's the president for the union of the RIPCO here in Rhode Island, the local 351, I think it is.
Yep.
And these guys, they got on TV, getting on TV bashing, saying inmates are violent, the place is dangerous, and just telling a bunch of lies to the public. So I wrote an article, pushing up against that and speaking truth to power. So they took it on to retaliate against me. They sabotaged. They took me to segregation, solitary confinement a week before my parole board. They hit me with a bunch of frivolous bookings. So within the 5 months I wrote, from the time I wrote complaints and articles, I caught 7 disciplinary infractions. So when I went up to parole, they used it against me at the parole board and said, you've been in all this trouble. But mind you, before this, Derek, I haven't had any disciplinary infractions for 18 months.
Wow.
And the last one was a minor infraction that I received prior to receiving all these disciplinary infractions. It even got so serious that Ferruccio's son, the union president's son, works over there in medium security, made an innuendo threat on my life. So I had to write the director.
Wait, whose son did that?
Richard Ferruccio, the union president. His son, who is also a correctional officer, bid the block that I was living in at the time over there in medium security, A block, and he told me that if they could kill me in here and get away with it, they will.
Did he get fired for that?
No, I wrote the director. I made a complaint to the Internal Affairs, and I documented everything. I sent a copy to the senator. I sent a copy to the governor, and a couple people letting them know like this threat was made, that if they could kill me here and get away with it, and they told me I would never be comfortable over here, and they're going to do anything they can to retaliate against me.
Wow. So in prison, it's more dangerous with the guards than it is with the fellow prisoners.
Yeah, sometimes because these people see people like me as a threat to their livelihood. You know what I mean? When just speaking, you know what they do, Derek? They get on television. This guy goes on television. He says we're the worst of the worst. We're unrehabilitated. We can't be rehabilitated. We're the worst of the worst. We're dangerous. His officers' lives are on the line. When it's not the truth. So my thing is I said, if you're going to demonize, why demonize us instead of working with the director? Because
Yeah.
And Director Salisbury is the one that me, the senator, we've been working here with. And Salisbury said, listen, any program, he told me personally, he came to Medium Security, he shook my hand. He said, Eric, any program that you want to get in here, that you could get in here, I'm down to bring it all in here. I'm for the rehabilitation. But a lot of these guys are not for rehabilitation. They don't, because they see it, the revolving cycle as a way to keep their pockets lined. Because the more beds that are full, the more overtime they need, the more officers they need.
Sure.
So they don't want to see you get out of prison and never come back. Because if that's the case, you put them out of business, right? So, it's like, that's what it is. So they see a person like me as a threat to their livelihood. So that's where they exercise their power and abuse their power to retaliate in retaliation. I mean, I went through the ringer. My parole was sabotaged. I should have been out almost a year ago because it's easier to get a parole than it is to get a judge to reduce your sentence. So if a judge is recognizing that I've done good enough to get my sentence reduced, why is the parole board not realizing that I'm good enough to be released on parole for the remainder of my sentence?
So people who's hearing this right now in Georgia, I have a lot more Georgia fans now. I've had Georgia fans all through when you were on here before because I used to go on Georgia a lot. But I have more Georgia fans. I have more South Carolina fans now. Because I live right near the South Carolina border. And of course, I was just up in Maine in May and New Hampshire. New Hampshire, Vermont. People was hearing you in other states. What do you want to let them know about you being incarcerated in Cranston, Rhode Island?
I want them to know that there are, that my thing is, the biggest thing is to fight for rehabilitation, to change lives. My way of giving back to my community was by giving back to the community is by changing things, fighting for change, fighting for rehabilitation, because, everybody deserves a chance in society, but those that are in power continue to push us out into society with the ability, to set us up for failure pretty much, and not the ability to actually change our lives.
Right.
Keeps this recidivism, and the cycle keeps going back and forth. So, I'm here, I'm fighting, I started the Prisoners Family Union. It's on Facebook. I want people to follow it. I'm here. My last name is Eric Neuville, Neusville. My ID number is 124184. I just want people to support what we're doing. Well, there is somebody from in here fighting from the trenches. I want people to support what we're doing and realize that everybody out there has a family member, a distant cousin, or a friend that has one time has been incarcerated or arrested. And, when you want your family members or your friends to come back to society, you want them to be the best person that they were, that they are before they went into prison, or whatever mistake that they made, you want them to succeed in life afterwards. So that's my goal, and that's what I'm trying to do, continue to speak truth to power. And no matter what they do to me, I'm going to keep fighting, And they try to take their sails out of my wind, They try to take the wind out of my sails. They try to do all these things to try to, shut me down and quiet me up, but I'm still fighting there, It's just in my nature. So, that's what I just want people out there to understand that, there are good things going on. There are good people in prison that made wrong and bad mistakes, you know what I'm saying? So, we're just trying to do better, you know what I mean?
Sure, do better.
So, as long as you support the movement, and when you come back up here, they need to pop in on me and check me out, when you come back up.
That's right, because I'm still on the guest list, right?
Well, now that you moved back to Georgia, I don't know if you changed your ID.
No, actually, it's funny because a lot of people who move away still keep their ID and the license plates for a while. So I'm like, I still see my Rhode Island license plate on my car, and I still consider Rhode Island my home. My address is still Cranston, Rhode Island. So actually, I could pop in there because I'm still on the get.
So I'll put you on my list because if you had switched over to the Georgia, then you're 85 miles away. You could just come in and see me at any time. But I'm gonna put you back on this month, and I'm gonna get you in there. So when you do pop up, when you do come back to Cranston, you can pop in and see.
I should be up there in September. In September, because I had the Jeffrey Osborne thing, and my parents' birthday in September.
Yeah, the Jeffrey Osborne. Yeah, he does the fundraiser every year.
Yeah, and then of course my parents' birthday falls on the same day as Jeffrey Osborne. So, Eric, when do you anticipate you getting out and you being free of prison in Cranston, Rhode Island?
All right, so this is the timetable. I went up to parole again because of the sabotage. I went back in January. They told me to come back in a year. So if I go back in January of this year coming up. Now, if I don't, and if I decide not to take it because, if this keeps happening, I got about another like 2 or 3 years and then I'm finished with it and I don't have to worry about anything like that. So I don't know, I'm considering that and just to, keep up the fight because who's to say when it comes back to my parole date again and they might just find another infraction to hit me with some frivolous accusation that they want to put on me to keep me in there. So I'm not going to keep jumping through hoops. I believe that I did everything that a person could possibly do. I fought for rehabilitation. I fought. If a person that you can't say a person's not rehabilitated when they're fighting to get other people rehabilitated. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
So if I went that far with it, why don't I deserve a chance? But if I'm going to keep going through hoops, I might as well just flat in the bed, walk into the door, get out. I can live my life. I don't have to, because who's to say I might get out on parole? I might have to go through some other stuff out there as long as I'm being supervised by the state of Rhode Island. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'd rather just move on and live my life once I step out of here and live free to travel, free to do the things that I need to do.
Right.
It does hurt the fact that I got children out there and I can't see them. And, I mean, not see them. I see my children, but I can't be with them.
Right.
But, what good am I going to do for them if I get out there and then have to keep seeing retaliation on that on the end of it? I might get a parole officer who's married to a correction officer. You know what I mean? And they might say, oh, that guy's he's an asshole. Put him back in, violate him for something minor, something stupid, and put him back in. So,
right.
So I have to think about all of those things. You know what I mean? When you become public enemy number one, but it's like the famous congressman from Georgia said. Yeah. You know what I mean? Senator Lewis, good trouble and necessary trouble is what I live by.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I continue to push for. You remember I told you I used to live down in Georgia.
What part of Georgia?
So I lived in Gwinnett County.
Oh, Gwinnett County.
Gwinnett County.
Yes.
Yeah, I lived in Duluth. Yeah, my sister still lives in Lawrenceville. My mother's buried out there in Lawrenceville.
That's right.
So I have ties to, I still got my sister. She's a doctor down there in Georgia.
Well, Vinny Bucci, my good friend, who's my co-host and does all my movies. He lives in Duluth, Minnesota. I mean Duluth, Georgia area too.
Yeah. I used to live in Duluth. I used to live on Peachtree Industrial
Boulevard.
Industrial Boulevard. Yep. Yeah, right in Duluth. And then my sister lived at that time she lived in Loganville.
Yes.
Off of 178. And yeah, so I know my way around Georgia. I've been all around Georgia. I've been to Augusta. I've been to Big Prairie, Dublin. I've been all down there.
Oh, Dublin's nice. I went to Dublin for the first time a few months ago, and Dublin is like the island of Georgia. Seriously, because it has all like shamrocks and but it's cool. All right, so Eric, you have 1 minute left. Eric, thank you for calling me. Hopefully we'll get you back on the show sometime soon. Thank you for having an update here on the Derek Shapiro Show podcast, and we'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Definitely. Tell everybody out there I said God bless and everybody have a good day, and remember, always get into good trouble, necessary trouble. And people, please go on my Facebook page, on the organization's Facebook page, and show your support. It's Prisoners Family Union on Facebook. And our website should be going up soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Eric.